My name is Dimitri Mitchell. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, yes, we are. Welcome, Dimitri. Thank you very much for joining.
Welcome, welcome, Dimitri. Do we have other prospective members?
My name is Dimitri Mitchell.
Yes, we have Andre Palmer.
Hi, thank you, President Paul. Good evening, everybody. My name is Andre Palmer. Really happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation, President Paul. Looking forward to the meeting this evening and for many more meetings to come.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming, Andre. And of course, I'm sure you'll be welcome in the club in due course. A lot of 40s men are in the club. DLG Trevor Christian will surely embrace you.
Certainly. Do we have other prospective members?
Yes, PDT Ralston.
DLGE.
DLGE, my apologies. DLGE.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
There is Hopewell in the chat. Kiwanis Club of Hopewell.
Oh, can you just check that for me, DP, President Paul? Hopewell? I'm not able to monitor it. Can you just monitor the chat for me, please? Okay.
Sure, yes.
Do we have guests of Kiwanians? Guests of Kiwanians? Guests of Kiwanians? Can you mute someone there for me?
Yes, I just did.
Guests of Kiwanians, there's Angela de Gazon, who is also visiting with us. Welcome, welcome, Angela. All right, do we have other guests of Kiwanians or of SLPs before I move to SLPs? Welcome, SLPs. Can you introduce yourselves?
Okay.
Go ahead for me. You were saying something. Can you repeat what you were saying?
Yes, we have another prospect, Anne-Marie Bishop.
Welcome, Anne-Marie. Welcome,
Good
Anne-Marie.
night, everyone. This is President Joshua Brown from the Micro University College Circle K International Club, and I am joined by District Secretary Dana Denton from the Caribbean District. And funny enough, I'm joined by two other prospective members in a physical location listening into the meeting. So we're hoping to have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you, President Joshua. Always nice to have you, sir. Do we have other SLPs?
Good evening.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Vice President Sashika Barnes from the Camperdown High School Key Club. We are currently 4 in number and awaiting more members.
Welcome, DP Sashika. Always nice to have you. Always nice to have Camperdown with us. Do we have others?
Yes, Kiwanis Relations Officer Courtney Palmer here from the Kingston College Key Club. It seems to be that yes,
good night, everyone.
Can you hear me?
I wasn't hearing you clearly, Courtney, Courtney, but welcome from the Q1 from the Kingston College Key Club. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, do we have others? Oh, okay. Dunoon, let's go ahead, Dunoon. DP Aldit, can you introduce yourself and your delegation? All right, welcome, Dunoon. Welcome, DP Aldit, who is the faculty advisor at Dunoon Park Technical High School. Welcome to everyone, all the members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston. Welcome all. President Paul, over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, DP Desmond, for a fantastic job as always.
Thank you, sir.
I have two apologies for absence. DP Marcel and Director David. Do we have any other apologies, DLG Willie? Did you get any of recent?
No, none at this time, apart from the two already indicated.
Okay, thank you very much, DLG Willie. At this time, we'll move over to our bulletin editor, Vice President Newton, to give us birthday recognitions and anniversaries.
Thank you, President Paul. Good evening, everyone. It's really great to hear so many prospects online with us tonight, and I hope you'll all be changing your status soon from prospect to members. In terms of birthdays and anniversary for this week, today is the birthday of DP Herman, and she's the wife of Kiwani and Clovis Metcalf OD. Today is her birthday. So please give her a call, people. And also Carol, who is the wife of DS Jeffrey Madden, she will be celebrating her birthday on Thursday the 14th. So those are the two we have for this week, DP Herman, who celebrates today, and Carol, wife of DS Jeff Madden, who celebrates on Thursday. If there's anyone here who has any special occasion this week, next week, or anytime soon, through President Paul, I would like you to just let us know so we can share with you. No one? Okay, well, I know we're going to have a great evening this evening, so back to you, President Paul.
Yes, thank you very much, VP Newton. At this time, we'll have our Secretary, DLG Willie, to give us Kiwanis education. DLG Willie.
Thank you, President Paul. Good evening, fellow Kiwanians. Yes. Tonight, we're going to look at interclubbing and the competitions that clubs within the division are involved in. However, before I do that, let me first congratulate the members of the Interclub and Fellowship Committee last year on the enviable achievement of completing 344 virtual interclubs during the past administrative year, and thank all 33 members who participated in one or more interclub visits. I'm often asked by new members, what is an interclub? Interclub may be defined as a pre-arranged visit to a scheduled meeting of another K family club and attend at least 60% of the said meeting. In all cases, it is incumbent on the visiting club to advise the host club of their planned visit. The numbers needed for each category in the Edgerton Chinloy competition is as follows. Category A, that's for clubs with 65 members and over. 4 members would constitute an interclub, or a minimum of 2 Kiwanis and 2 sponsor youth members of a club sponsored by the Kiwanis Club. For distances over 50 miles, 3 members constitute an interclub, or at least 2 Kiwanis and 1 sponsor youth member of a club sponsored by the Kiwanis Club, subject to the youth protection policies. Other categories are Category B. Now these are clubs with 31 to 65 members. Rule of 4 members applies. And then you have Category C, which is clubs with 30 members or less, where to constitute an interclub, you must have a minimum of 3 members. This year, like last year, the club is involved with the Edgerton Chinloy competition, and that basically awards you points, 5 points for the first 5 interclubs made, and then 10 points each for every interclub made after that. There is also the Persilindo competition for fellowship, but unfortunately, that focuses on fellowship. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, this has been suspended. Fellow members, this is a short presentation on interclubs, and I hope the newer members would have benefited from it. Thank you very much, President Paul.
Yes, thank you very much, DLG Willie, for that educated session. At this time, I'm going to ask past District Trustee, Director Ralston, to introduce our guest speaker, DLG Bev.
President Paul, good evening. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing your cloud clear, sir.
On my phone. But you know, in every organization, we have what I refer to as stalwarts. Take, for instance, distinguished Governor Mill, who by now I'm sure he can sing the Jamaican anthem because he's at every meeting. But among the stalwarts, we have one Beverly, who is a distinguished lieutenant governor and a charter member of the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. She also shares dual membership with the Kiwanis Club of Barbican, one of our sons, our daughters. DLG Bev has given over 32 years of passionate service to the movement. She is a graduate of Excelsior High School and Career Academy in Toronto, Canada, where she studied and graduated as a medical technologist. Bev says her beginnings of being a servant leader was learned and practiced at her alma mater, Excelsior. She has worked at the club, division, and district levels and has received many distinguished awards at all levels, including the Godfrey Dyer and George Hickson, and most recently, the Frank Melhedo Award, which I happened to share with her on that particular occasion. She has recently been appointed a country representative in Jamaica for the Kiwanis Youth Protection Policies and Guidelines, and most recently, Youth Protection Manager for Eastern Canada and the Caribbean District of Kiwanis International. Her hobbies are cake baking, decorating, specializing in wedding cakes. She is an avid listener to good, and I say good music, and she does quite a bit of gardening. Bev is very involved in her home church, and that's the Church of St. Margaret. But as a true servant leader, her motto is, if it is to be, it is up to me. And I am particularly pleased to present someone who I consider a dear friend. We have served together on many committees, fellow Kiwanians, visitors, friends. Will you help me to present on a most topical issue today, a most important issue, to present Kiwanis Youth Protection Guidelines. Help me welcome DLG Beverly Thompson.
Thank you so much, my friend Ronnie. I can call you Ronnie.
Yes.
But for our new members online, it's PDT. He's the past district trustee, Ralston. So he's another great Kiwani. President Paul, LG Rosie, my dear President Janelle, DG Mel. Boys, always good to have you online with us. All our SLPs in the house and distinguished Kiwanians, and I know we have quite a few Kiwanians online who are from overseas. A very good evening. It's really good to be here. Special shout out to my dear friend Aldith, and it's good to see DLGE Trevor. So we are now going to go straight into our program this evening. And so I'd like to have to share screen. And so I think I have that privilege right away. Fine. Thank you so much. Are you all seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes, DLG.
Thank you.
Can you spread it a little wider?
Yes, man. I'm going to do that. Right there. Spread out. You seeing it now?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Good. So, fellow Kiwanians and friends, and SLPs in particular, we are going to have a little talk on youth protection. And so I must remind you that in Jamaica, we have a youth protection policies team. And that team is our own DA, Christopher Humble, our ADA, Audrey Brown, ADA, gosh, her name has slipped me, and myself. Okay, So we have a team here in Jamaica that we can refer problems to. My recent role given to me, the youth protection manager for the district, it will take me through to, if not all, the divisions in the Eastern Canada and the Caribbean. So my aim really is to get this youth protection policy over to most of the clubs so that they can understand what it's all about and see why we need to really go into and understand, and to also know why youth protection matters. I'm going to ask persons, please, to close your mic because it affects me with my earplugs. So I'm going to ask you, please, as best you can. You only open if you're going to speak. Thank you so much. Why does youth protection matter? Now, we're all placed here on earth to perform duties. And one of our greatest duty as a Kiwanian is to be there, be the custodian for our children, our youth. And so far, we have been doing a good job. But things are getting really hot now in the world and also in Jamaica. So we need to know more of how do we protect our youth? How do we make them feel comfortable around us? How do we look out for them when we are traveling with them, and the things that we are to do and the things that we're not to do? So we really need to know why youth protection matters. Now, when you look at my screen, it is telling you that Kiwanis serves over 300,000 youth each year. And I'm going to pause here because I want you to jot down your questions. If you have any questions, that you don't forget them, and I will try to answer them. You can stop me if you want, because I know sometimes you don't want to forget. So during childhood across all ages, we have about 1 in 4 girls that are sexually abused. 1 in 13 boys. Can you imagine? Now in Jamaica, we have 1 in 4 girls, and 1 in 6 boys under the age of 18 that experience abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. That is not good. And would you believe that it happens right under our noses, right in the homes, in the Kiwanis movements, in schools, and virtually? Don't forget, virtually. What do abusers have in common? They have privacy with these kids. They have access to these children. They have control. And so when you think of them having control, they're locked away with them. They're gone to convention with them. They can easily get to their rooms while they're at conventions, and a myriad of things. And this helps or contributes to the easy access to creating abuse, any form of abuse. And remember that abuse is usually at the hands of known persons and family members, not strangers. And we all know that, right? Right under your nose, you have, and I'm gonna, because we're speaking Kiwanis, you can have a Kiwanis advisor, faculty advisor, right under our noses doing things that is not appropriate. It's right there. More than 90% of abusers are children, people children know and they trust. Isn't that sad? They trust them, so they just say, okay, he won't do me anything. I trust him, I trust her. 96% of people who abuse children are married. And when I'm saying the men are married men, 76% are married men. Okay? Abusers tend to use a manipulative process called grooming in order to gain trust. And what does that mean? They show special attention to these children. They try to fill their needs, their unmet needs. They're buying them gifts. They give them special food items. They offer them rides, all right? And so they are with them and they have access to these children, unknowing to this child or children that this person can hurt them. No, 80% of child abuse victims, they never usually report their abuse, and we know that. They don't report their abuse. They believe, they trust the person, and they don't want to feel bad. They don't want the person to feel bad, so they don't tell. And even if they tell their parents of what is happening, sometimes the parents say, no, nothing like that. That couldn't be your uncle. No, your uncle wouldn't do something like that, okay? So they don't trust the persons, the parents don't trust the children to say they're speaking the truth. And this is something that we have to try and get rid of, especially in Jamaica. Now let's look at suicide. We sometimes don't even want to speak the word suicide, because suicide is the second leading cause of death in children and adolescents in the United States. Now, in Jamaica, our children in the ages 2 to 8 years old, they attempt suicide. We have had, since over the past 3 months, we have had 3 cases of actual suicide. Okay, and this is with children, 2 kids at age 8 and 2 committing suicide. Attempted suicide in Jamaica is 60% are below the age of 25 years old. So you understand that suicide is here and it has risen its ugly head since we have had COVID coming into the scheme of things. COVID causes our children to feel that they are just so depressed. They have no gadgets to use. They have nowhere to sit and study. They can't meet their friends. And so they believe life is just not worth it. So they try to commit, some of them actually do. So we as Kiwanians, we really have to be there to help them. We have to be there to know these factors, the risk factors that will associate with those suicide attempts and so on. Now, some of the risk factors, these children are exposed to violence. And we can attest to that in some of the schools that we go to. Our kids are exposed to violence. They're impulsive. They're aggressive. They display disruptive behavior. They have access to firearms. Bullying, and bullying now is so common online. Virtual bullying takes place. And some of the children have a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness. And you know, when that happens, what can happen? And they also feel an acute loss. Can somebody close their mic for me, please? It's really affecting. All right, thank you. An acute loss or rejection. If they lost a parent or a good friend, or they're rejected because, you know, they're not doing well because they can't get the tablet to do their work, and teacher calls them out, or the parents start to say they're no good, etc., etc., all these things. So these are some of the risk factors that can lead to suicide or any form of abuse. Now, Kiwanis, we have some goals, right? And we want to protect our children. As I started out by saying, we ought to know how to protect our children and to let them feel safe, that when they come to a Kiwanis meeting online, when they come, when we get back face to face and they visit with us, they can feel safe. They're safe around male and female. We want us to protect, educate, and engage all Kiwanis members, youth and adults. That is the aim. We want to protect youth members from predators. We want to empower and educate adult members with best practices when working with the youth. And this is why we ask that we take this youth protection policy very, very seriously, okay? So that we can learn more about it and to know how we can do this. We want to provide youth with positive skills development tools designed to inspire and engage them as our future leaders, because these kids are our leaders. Just today I was speaking with a group and I was saying to them, listen, we need to really do more of getting the younger children on to Kiwanis. We need to form more SLP clubs so that we can train them, because we are really, things not looking so pretty. Things not looking so pretty, and we really need to build on what we have now, what Kiwanis is working with now. We need to build on that and make it better for our children. Now, youth protection ABCs, right? So we have A is accessible. We're doing high quality training, and we have lots and lots of resources, and you will see that soon. We need to, background checks need to be done. And I know that is a topical issue right now, background checks, but we can talk about it this evening. And we're going to go through culture of care. And culture of care is really something for key clubbers and our circle carers. So we're going to learn all about that here tonight. Now, Kiwanis provides us with a lot of information. Sometimes I say information overload, because you get so much information from Kiwanis and it's easily accessible now. So anything you want to know about youth protection, the policies and procedures, the background checks, the training, culture of care, even the helpline, Youth Protection Week, etc., you can log on to Kiwanis and get any information that you wish. So not knowing should not be an excuse. Not knowing, and here we are tonight on this platform, we're going to be learning more from me, but this does not preclude you from getting online and learning even more, because we can't do it all in one sitting. So education. We have the youth protection policy goes through training, and education is a must. And this is why we ask that every club, for Kiwanis Club, we want you to inform and educate your members on the guidelines, on these policies, best practices, and required actions for individuals who become aware of youth in danger. So there's no excuse. We need to be educated on the youth protection policies. The districts are having forums or workshops at conventions and conferences. If you attended this year's district convention, they had workshops on youth protection. And so we will continue with these workshops. Earlier on, I was speaking with our DG Mel and telling him that, yes, we want to do this kind of training that we're doing here tonight with all the divisions within ECNC. Because at the end of the day, ECNC must come out on top, knowing exactly what we are to do and what we are not to do. The CLE education, which is club leadership education, is currently unavailable, but you can connect to kiwanis.org, youth protection website, and you will get further training slides. You can go on and get these. Now, in the far right corner, you will see youth protection policies and procedures. When you go online, this will pop up. You can get this, you can print it down, you can use it as leaflets to hand out to your club members, or you can post it in your bulletin and so on. And this is just a précis of the entire program itself, the entire policies. It picks out areas and just précis for us, and you can look at it and have members going through it. There's another form of training, the youth protection courses that are offered by Kiwanis. I told you at Kiwanis, but I'm telling you, it's really a university. This is called the Presidium Academy, and youth protection courses are offered right here on this website. You just log on, you need to get a password. So when you go on, it will guide you as to how you can manage this website. So Kiwanis advisors, district admins, risk and youth protection managers, they're all required to do these modules. But you, as a normal Kiwanian, you can go in and look at it. Chaperones to youth-hosted SLP events are required to do this Presidium training. So when you go on, the name of the chaperone should be emailed to youthprotection@kiwanis.org to be added manually. We're going to talk about chaperones in a minute. Members like your club president, your secretary, are not really required to do this, but for their own learning purposes, I would suggest that you go on and equip yourself with this knowledge. All right, so you just go on and you click and it will tell you step by step how to get into the program. Faculty advisors are not really required to complete this, but again, I says, you can be given access because as faculty advisors, you will also know exactly what Kiwanis would like from you, and it teaches you quite a few things also. Now here we go to background checks for Kiwanis SLP advisors. Now we're going to deal with the advisors here because we've had a lot of queries, we have had a lot of doubts. We have had SLP or faculty advisors expressing their feeling about having to do background checks. But hear this now, my fellow Kiwanis. Kiwanis International requires clubs to have a clear criminal history background check for any club member serving as an advisor to any service leadership program, club, SLP. And it also includes Circle K, Key Club, Builders, K-Kids, Action Club, if you're doing anything in that sort. So you as the member who is a part of the SLP program as an advisor, you need to have your background check done. Now for the faculty advisor, and these are the scenarios where the faculty advisor need to or do not need to. Scenario 1, the faculty advisor only works with students on school premises for meetings and events. They're not going outside, they're not leaving the premises with the children, they're not taking them anywhere, they're not doing anything with us where we have to take them out. All right, this faculty advisor stays on premises. She does the meetings and events on the school premises. The school's background check is sufficient. We know that all teachers do a background check. So once they did that, that is sufficient once they're not leaving the premises with the children. The advisor should have our Kiwanis youth protection policy and adhere to either our standards or school standards of conduct, whichever policy has a stricter guidance. So what this is really saying is they should know about the Kiwanis youth protection policy and they should adhere to it and follow the standards, but they really don't need to have a background check done. But I just want to say to you, how many faculty advisors are going to stay on the premises and don't go out with the children when Kiwanis is offering projects outside of the school? They're going to. So I would say that they really should, but if they're staying with them at school, they don't have to. The second scenario, faculty advisor works with students on school premises and attends events outside of the normal school activities, such as overnights and students. And we know what those overnight things are, or conventions and play days, sports day, many things happen outside of the school premises where we take the children out. A faculty advisor is required to attend with them, because you know parents are not sending the children unless a faculty advisor is with them. So there we go. We need to really encourage faculty advisors to get their background checks done. Faculty advisor will be required to have an approved background check through the Kiwanis vendor for any and all overnight stay. They will be required to take or chaperone training via Presidium and annually review youth protection policies. Let's stop for a moment here and talk about this. Now, the faculty advisor, and I started out by saying we have had some faculty advisors who have really literally complained that they can't afford this 25 US that Kiwanis is asking them to pay for them to get their background check when they have one already, just to take the children out. But one, we know that parents are not sending the kids out unless a teacher is there with them. So we suggest, and I strongly suggest, that clubs look at assisting the cost, or you know, if you want to do a project to get some funds or whatever, it should be a budgeted item that you may be able to help the faculty advisor pay for the background check. You can actually initiate it, do it for them, and present it to them and help them to fill out the form, etc. So you may want to think of that, because we want, for the future, we would love to have all our faculty advisors having this background check without feeling burdened. 25 US to a teacher is a lot of money. And so we really have to look at that. When we also look at our Kiwanian advisors, they are also in need of help. There's some Kiwanian advisors who really don't need, they can go ahead and do the background check and pay for it themselves. But from we started this program, we have been encouraging clubs to assist their Kiwanian advisors in getting background checks done, offsetting the expense for them. And so we had asked that, you know, at the beginning of the year, you make it a budgeted item on your budget to pay for your Kiwanian advisor. And now I'm also asking that you can look at it to assist your faculty advisor. It is worth it in the long run. It is worth it in the long run. Let me pause here to find out if anyone has any burning concern and a burning issue that they would like to put forward at this time, or am I so clear that everything is understood at this point? Okay, no response, so that means
you're very clear.
You're very clear. Yes.
So I will proceed.
Just for clarification, DLG, good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
Are you saying that despite the fact that the faculty advisor is employed in the school, would have passed all the necessary scrutiny that the Ministry of Education and others would have asked for, they still have to be accredited to be a faculty advisor in the school for our service leadership club?
No, it's not a matter of being, thanks for that question, DP Chris. It's not a matter of being accredited, but I have the screen up again showing you that we know that the teachers would have gone through a lot of checks. But what Kiwanis International is saying, and we are an international organization, we have our rules, and we want the rules to be strictly adhered to. We're saying if the faculty advisor that is there for that school is just going to be at the school meeting with the children and holding events on the premises, they can use, it's sufficient to have their school background check done, used. They can use that. However, if they are going out of the premises with the children, they must have the Kiwanis international background check done.
Okay, understood.
Did I answer you, DP Chris?
Yes, DLG Bell.
Yes,
Understood.
and as I said before, you know, it's a little controversial with some of the faculty advisors, as I have been speaking with them. And when I tell them, you know, we will encourage the clubs to assist them in getting this because they want to go out with the kids. And I said that parents not going to send the children if a school teacher is not going to be there. But once they're coming out with Kiwanis, and it's a Kiwanis project, they will have to have a background check done.
DLG Bev?
Yes, DLG Bev.
Yes, go ahead.
If I may interject at this time, I see 3 hands up. Are you taking questions now? I see
yes, go right ahead. Yes, because
I see DG.
we don't want to leave the topic.
Yes, I see DG Mel and also DP Desmond and Kiwan and Litton in that order. I don't know if you would so
Go
oblige.
ahead. Yes, yes, go ahead.
Bev.
Yes, DG Mel.
I have a concern. Chris had asked about it, but in the Bahamas, the government automatically check their teachers. And whenever the school authorized the kids to go out, the teachers automatically go with them based on the fact that they've got their checks already done. Now you're saying that KI is saying if you leave the school premises under the umbrella of SLP, you need to have a background check done by KI.
Yes, that's exactly what it's saying.
What that is going to do is that's going to cause a lot of the teachers not wanting to be faculty advisors. Because as it stands now, the teachers are already paying for miscellaneous things for their kids in the classroom. Now they have to pay for this extra service that they're doing for the kids. You are suggesting perhaps that one of the best practice for the Kiwanis Club is to offset that expense. But if a Kiwanis Club has about 8 or 9 SLP clubs like our club has, that's going to be very expensive.
Yeah. So thank you, DG Mel. No, this has been a concern from we started. Matter of fact, from I started doing this, this was a concern. However, we talked about it. And as I said before, Kiwanis International has its regulations, and this is one of them. It's fine if the teachers are on the premises, you know, and I keep saying that. They can stay and use their thing. But once they're taking the children out under the umbrella of Kiwanis, they have to have a background check. Now, I recently attended a meeting with the risk managers, and we are getting statistics very soon as to claims that have been put in to KI under the liability insurance for things like sexual abuse, injured while out with Kiwanis and all those things, and Kiwanis will have to pay. So we know that there are lots of risks that are associated with our children and in taking them out. So what we are saying is we want our faculty advisors to be aware of all of these things and to know that Kiwanis is just trying to cover them under this policy of having their background check done and to know that they are above board with everything and they're okay. Yes, they have one done by the school, but Kiwanis International is asking for one. And so this is why, as you said, I'm suggesting that we look again at how do we get over this? Because yes, it's going to cause some little disruption, you know, because teachers are going to say, I can't bother with that. Me paying all of this, and you know, why should I pay to have this background check done just to take the kids out? But like in every well-run organization, there are rules and regulations, and that is one of them. It's a pity it didn't appear before. It's just, but we are now making sure that this will happen. And with the clubs really form a good, really should take this on and see how best they can help to the faculty advisor.
Yes.
My latter part of my question is that is KI policy still in that SLP expenses can be taken from the charity account?
Yes, it is from charity or the admin.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it is.
Thanks much.
You're welcome. Next person?
Yes, DG, DLG Bev, DP Desmond and Kiwanis and Leighton in that order. And
okay, DP Desmond.
Thank you, President Paul, and thank you, DLG Bev, for your presentation. You mentioned that if the faculty advisor as the chaperone is going off the premises, then the background check is required. And this off the premises could be physically as well as virtually. Is that so?
Off the premise, physical or virtual. And we're going to come to virtual because that is something new right now. I'm going to speak to virtual.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Who was next? Next person?
Kiwanis and Leighton.
Hi, good evening, DLG.
Good evening, Kiwanis and Leighton. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my little concern about the whole scenario is that a teacher takes children on field trip based on the system that operates in Jamaica. How KI should supersede that, seem to have a system that is questioning that. And by the way, the background check will be done in any case in Jamaica. So it seems like a duplication of the whole process.
All right, if I'm following what you're saying, it's going to be duplicated, but it's not. Remember I said that Kiwanis International has its rules and regulations like any normally run company. And one of its rules says that any faculty advisor, any Kiwanis advisor working with children and taking them outside of a premises or their school should have a background check done. The background check has, if for Jamaica, and we're going to see that in a while, for the Caribbean, the passport is used, and of course the local information from the police or whoever they get it from here. So information is had. All right, so we're not going to get around it. It's just that Kiwanis International needs to have it. It's not really duplicating some of the information. I don't know what the information is that they're going to be asking about the person, but you know that increasingly every day we're having persons who are hiding behind masks. We may not have it right now in our movement here in Jamaica, but it's happening. And so whatever Kiwanis International spreads out there for all the clubs, whether it's overseas or within the Caribbean, the ECNC district, we have to adhere to what they're asking. I'm getting a lot of persons saying, well, this is going to cause faculty advisors and clubs, for faculty advisors to not do their best or to put out their best. And we get faculty advisors saying, you know, we're so loyal to Kiwanis and they want to charge us. It's not a matter of charging. But as I mentioned before, I would really ask that clubs think about assisting faculty advisors, especially in getting this, because this background check is not, from how I see it and when I sit into meetings, it's not going to go away. It's not, it's probably going to it's going to increase in terms of making sure persons have it and finding methods to get to know who has a background check from who don't before they actually go to a function. Because somebody asked me that question, how are you going to know if I have my background check or not? We are Kiwanians and we must abide by the regulations. And the truth be told, we need to be truthful to ourselves. So we are taking it in that light. And I know and I understand, based on some of the questions, what our faculty advisors are. I'm not so worried about the Kiwanian advisor, but the faculty advisors, this is where clubs will now have to work closely with their SLP clubs to encourage a cohesive relationship that I can do this for you, and since it can come from our admin or whatever, we can help. But it's a necessity. We don't want Kiwanians to speak to the faculty advisors as if Kiwanis shouldn't be doing this and you really don't have to pay and you shouldn't pay, because we want you to encourage them, to educate them as to the reason why they should have this background check done by KI. Are we okay now?
Yes, DLG Bev, yes.
All right, okay. So we come to chaperones. And I tell everybody, you know, that first time, and a lot of you older Kiwanians in terms of service will understand what I'm saying. When we used to take the children out, we used to pack up a bus or pack up a car and we drive out with them. And, you know, we're always quarreling with our own Kiwanians as to, boy, how many of you, why you couldn't come and help us? We need more people to go with these children. We weren't even taking on, a matter of fact, I didn't even know about this chaperone policy in youth protection program at that time. But now, this chaperone, and the chaperone really, you know what that means, somebody to accompany, to be there. You don't leave them and go on about your business, you're there. And these chaperones must be 21 years or older, because there are times when we would ask, you know, key clubbers who are mature key clubbers to come and assist with our children when we go on a fun day or so. We want to get all our key clubbers there because they will help. No, they can't be chaperones. Yes, they can be there, but they could not be formal chaperones. All chaperones, club members and non-members participating in any events off the premises or overnight must have a clear background check done. They must have completed the Kiwanis annual youth protection training. And we're doing this tonight. And clubs are going to be doing this. And yes, clubs, you can do this on your own. I don't have to come to speak, but you may want me to speak because I may, you know, I can get deeper into the whole thing. But you can get those forms that I showed you earlier on, the precinct forms with the various areas, print them, hand them out, and have a discussion on the Kiwanis education at your meeting and keep pushing the policies, okay? Are you a minimum of 1 adult per 10 students must be serving as chaperones. Again, I said before, we used to just 50 children and just 1 Kiwanian or 2 Kiwanians are there to help. Those days are gone because we now as Kiwanians have to insist that this don't happen. And so this is why we are training, and it's going to take a while, but we need to know that you are understanding the whole process and you will be a part of this process. So each overnight Kiwanis sponsored event must have a minimum of 1 chaperone per 10 students. In the past, as I said, when we have all decon, and lots of you can relate to that. How many Kiwanians do we have there helping, or how many chaperones are there? And of course, teachers can be chaperones too, but they must have the background checks. And so it's 1 chaperone per 10 students. So you have 20 students, we need 2 chaperones. If you have 12 students, we need 2 chaperones, because it is 1 adult male for each 10 youth or any part of. And remember, it says male to male, 1 adult female, each 10 females or any part of, females to females. You're not going to have a male chaperone for your female youth or vice versa. Again, also adults may not share sleeping quarters with students unless it is their child or in a bunk camp cabin setting. And I think we have been practicing that, I must say, from what I remember, we have been practicing that. So remember the ratio, 1 chaperone per 10 students. The chaperone must be over age 21.
DLG Bev.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. One of the things that we always pride ourselves on is being able to do projects alongside our SLP clubs.
Yes.
Are you therefore saying that the only Kiwanis who can participate in that project must have background check? And
all right,
the project can't afford to have more than well, the ratio cannot be exceeded. So if you manage to get out 30 key clubbers at that project, you must have at least 3 Kiwanians there.
3 Kiwanians should be there.
Okay.
Now, Kiwanians can attend, because that very scenario came up recently. Because take our church service. Our church service for key clubs, it attracts the largest number of Kiwanians, and that's in Jamaica here. We have a different culture, basically in the Caribbean, where Kiwanians come out for their SLP programs, projects. They come out in numbers. I asked that question. So we have a church service, 200 key clubbers are there. And this is now where we have to do proper planning, because each club will have to say how many students you're going to go, and they would have to know that the ratio and make sure that those children in each club would have the appropriate chaperones with them. This does not preclude Kiwanis members attending, but not in the capacity of working with that school in terms of you are responsible for the 20 students from Merle Grove. So those 20 students from Merle Grove must have 2 chaperones. And it could be one of the chaperones could be a parent who had a background check done, or a teacher who had a background check done, or 2 Kiwanians who had their background checks done. Okay, and Kiwanians would be there, but not intimately involved with the students themselves. You know, we have to line them up, we have to do this and work with them closely. So we're saying that those 400 students must have the proper ratio to walk them into the church, make sure that this or that, so that they don't trip and fall, and then you have a claim right there that that student fell right there at the church step or whatever, or anything can happen. Worse yet, if it is deacon, or worse if it's a fun day, we have to have that ratio. And I know we do very well in Jamaica, as I said, by getting our Kiwanians out to be a part of our SLP programs. We're not stopping that. KI is not saying to stop that. What it is saying is, from each school, you must know how many students will be in attendance, so that each Kiwanian advisor for that particular school can say, okay, you are bringing along, we have 40 persons to come along. We're going to need 4 persons with background checks to be there as the official chaperones for them.
I understand that. My concern is almost the other scenario happening. You know, we have a joint project, you know, with us, you know, with us, our key club, you know, and yes, you may have, you know, 2 properly accredited Kiwani advisors there, but you also have 18 other Kiwanians who are participating in that project. What do you do in a situation like that?
So you're talking about a joint project with a Kiwanis club and a key club?
And a key club, yeah.
All right, so you're taking them out of from their school premises?
Probably it's not out, it's off the school compound somewhere else.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
once you're going off the school compound, and this is where our planning now might have to tweak it a bit from what we are accustomed to. So we're going to take them off the premises, and we are doing this jointly with them. From your club, from Kingston Club's point of view, it's 40 of them. So you would like to know what type of project is it? Is it a labor-intensive project? You're going to paint? What's the idea? What's the thought? Let's just use a good example. You're going to do some painting.
Yeah.
You're going to paint a hospital, and you want to have 40 kids. You're going to get 40 children, and your members also will be there. Now, some of your members, as it is now, all the members will not have background checks because of the cost, which is something I might just bring up right here now, that if you are not a Kiwanian advisor or a faculty advisor, the cost is not 25 US, it's more than, it's 80 something US to do a background check if you're a non-Kiwani, if you're not a Kiwanian advisor. So we'll talk about that in a while. All right. So you are going to make sure that you have the required numbers to be there with those 40 children because they're going to be doing a project along with you. So you would need to plan to have your members, any other member can attend, you know, your other club members can attend, but they won't be totally involved with the school because say, for example, Kiwanis was to do a check and say they just do a spot check and you have the 40 children there and your club members, who probably is another 20, at least you can say that for those 40 members, you have at least minimum 20 Kiwanians. What we had said, one in 10, right? So you would need four Kiwanians to be there. And that's easily done. So you know that those 4 Kiwanians are now going to be looking out for anything unscrupulous that's happening at this paint up, you know, because it's a co-ed school and all kind of things can go down. And so we want to make sure that you have those 4 eyes looking out. But don't we know our kids and what can happen?
No, but it's just a matter of, the point is those who are not Kiwani advisors, but just regular Kiwani members, they too will also be interacting with the kids at this project.
Yes, they're going to be, but for official documentation, you know you have 4 Kiwanians on site that have the background check done as chaperones for those children. You follow? So DP Chris, one of those kids got caught and you have to now report that because you can't go ahead now and administer anything to them, no medication, nothing. You have to now report to your president or whoever is on any of those 4 Kiwanians that have their background checks can now take that and deal with it by getting the doctor on and so on and so forth. If you see the picture?
Yeah, okay.
So you have a group that's responsible for these 40 children, 4 members of your club with their background checks responsible. So nobody can come on that project and say that you did not have enough chaperones because you took them off from their school to this hospital to paint. And so we are responsible for them. All the other Kiwanians, all the other, minus the 4 Kiwanians, you know, It don't matter if they've never had no background check because they're painting also in their own little area and so on. But these 40 children need to be monitored, that 10 of them don't run off and say them gone out the road or whatever. You have to have that ratio, 1 to 10. That's it, Chris? DP Chris?
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Okay, so let's go on to social media. And
before you leave that,
yes, Henry.
How would you say we deal with this situation? I'm a parent, and my kid is in Key Club or Cycle K, whatever it is, and we always do things together. So I take them to church, or I would like to take them to Deacon or Icon.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that because I don't have a background check, I cannot be within the environment that the kid is in when they assemble as key clubs?
No, 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 no. You can be in the environment. You're the parent, but you chose not to. So you're going to take them out. And a parent says, hey, I would like to be there because I love to be where my children are. And I want to just come and, just see what is happening. They can be there in the same space, but still you would have to have a formal chaperone for those kids. If the parent wanted to be a chaperone.
No, I don't want to be. I just want to be.
You don't want to be a chaperone. You just want to be there. Yes, you can be there. Without a background check.
Without a background check.
Without. You can be there. You're not precluded. You can be there. But what the school, what that group would make sure is that there are chaperones there. But you can come there because it's your right to be there with your child.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. All right, so social media is the thing of the day. Press, how many minutes, how much time am I doing? How am I doing?
Well, you're doing okay, DLG, Bev. I just allow you 5 minutes or so to wrap up. Yeah, I grant it, yes. Ooh. 5 to 10 minutes if you yes.
All right. Oh, you see how this thing is? Yes, all right. I'll try to do that, but I don't want to miss anything. All right, so social media, boy, social media is the thing now, right? Question was asked at the beginning about online activities. Am I correct? If I remember, Desmond, I think it was you who asked about being on social media.
Correct, DLG.
So if you have to have, and there's something around that I'll jump to in a moment, which shows the ratio of persons that you would need with background checks on the social platform, on the platform with them. Now, remember that when you're working with the kids on social media, you connect, the best practice is to really connect to your club page account and your club page account and not the individual members' accounts. I don't think that's really happening, but because we have a Kiwanis account, but you must always remember, connect to your club page or that Zoom account that we have. You don't use your personal one or a member, not your personal, sorry, a member that a club individual youth member may have. Never initiate following a child, friending a child, liking posts or pages of individual students. Now, I want to clarify something here because it has come up already. That when we say liking posts of our students, we want to encourage them to be better citizens. They do good projects. We want them to post things that are educational. Once they're doing all of that kind of posting, and it's fine. So they're posting something about a poem that they wrote or a piece of art that they did that can ultimately help other students. Yes, you can like those posts and they can do that. Okay, but we're talking about posting stuff on Facebook about who look good, and we really don't want that started. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Most of you know. Treat all social posts and interactions as public facing. Never post pictures of youth on your personal social media pages. So we go and we take pictures, and we know, and we do this very well in Jamaica. We ask, first of all, if we can post a picture of these youth that we went to feed or whatever. And if they say yes, fine. If not, we don't post it. Some persons put something over their faces and so on. I remember we got in trouble years ago. Front page picture came out with some students, some children from a home. And wow, did that parent carry on? So we don't want to do it. Get permission of posting on your personal social media pages, one. You can use your club page and post pictures, but you have to get permission. So we do projects and we post pictures, right? And sometimes it's of the persons that we're serving. All right. And if follow the rule of 3, always include parents, guardians, or any other adult, and you can't go wrong. You can use your Kiwanis or faculty advisor, your district administrator, or the youth protection manager, or any of those persons can be asked about what to do if you run into any problems. No, we're talking about Twitter. We know all the social media things. Now, here is where answer to DP's question. We advise programs to have at least 2 to 3 background checked adults, advisors, or chaperones participate in virtual programs, whether these are with small or large groups. And it says here, regardless if you have 30 youth or 5 youth, the recommendation would be to have at least 2 adults online. Because remember, I remember saying to Akiwania, lots of things happen online. Lots of things that's not so good. Because you have personal chat, you can one-on-one chat, lots of things. You can have students doing drinking online. You can have the adults online. Yesterday, after a meeting, the president closed their meeting by saying, I know we have students, SLP members online, so we will raise our water or bottles of water in closing for a toast to international. They didn't say raise your wine or your whatever. So we have that part. But remember, if it's 30 or 5, at least 2 adults should be online that have a background check. Having at least 2 to 3 adults discourages any inappropriate one-on-one engagement and can help hold the student members and the other advisors, chaperones accountable to the code of conduct. Okay, so there is that code of conduct while you are online. And remember the code of conduct. Once your SLP members come online, you really need to start telling them what to do. Close your mic when you're not speaking, dress appropriately so that, you know, you can have your backdrop and no cynical backdrops either. No, if you don't just plain straight wall or something, but don't put up any things that may warrant someone saying, no, you have to take that down. And speaking loudly and having noise in the background, all those things are virtual protocols that we need to observe and to train our SLP members to how to observe them. Transportation, as again, I started out by saying we used to pack up our kids. We can't do that anymore. At least 3 people in a car, and one of those persons in the car must have a background check. So the person driving, or there's a teacher or a Kiwanis in the car. If you're gonna put kids in your car, at least 3 to be in the car. If it's a station wagon, then of course it would be a little more than 3. Students must always ride in the back, and they must have approval from parents or guardians, and also the school. Remember too that children are smart. You must tell your faculty advisors that they must know the signature of parents, because children have tried to forge signature of parents when they need to go somewhere and the parents said no, they forge a signature. So the faculty advisor needs to know what is the signature of the parents so that they don't pull the wool over their faces. And you as a Kiwanian ought to also remind the teacher, the faculty advisor, that this is what is to happen. What happens in some schools is that as soon as a student arrives at school as a new student, they complete a form that gives information on themselves. But when they're going outside, a form is also to be signed off by parents or guardians giving permission. Drugs, prescription drugs or non-prescription drugs should not be allowed without written permission from parents. You cannot medicate a child, even with a headache, unless written consent is given. And this is what a form looks like. One of the forms look where it says, will I give you the permission to dispense whatever it is? Child might be asthmatic and so on. Okay, reporting troubling behavior, and I have to rush through these now. Reporting troubling behavior simply means that if you're traveling out in a group with the children and something is happening that looks untoward, you say, boy, something looks funny, you know. We need to report it quickly. We need to contact the person. So you're traveling the bus and God forbid one of these students look as if they have a weapon or something. Somebody needs to be called quickly. Even if the law enforcement personnel have to be called, it has to be. So when you go on these big excursions with these kids, this is why it is so important to have these persons, your chaperones, and the ratio is correct, and they have their background check. Because these are the things that you're going to have to look out for, because it might be potentially unsafe. And so you need to be looking out, and you alone can't do it, so you need the ratio should be correct. And this is before, while you're traveling, if it happens after or it comes to your attention after, you still have to report. If it's something that needs the attention of the law, you need to do. And we know many times what can happen. I heard a sad story overseas that happened too in Kiwanis with this, where they had to report this incident to the law, the persons, the enforcement persons. Okay, so it's also important. This youth protection helpline, it would cost us to think. I suppose like DG Mail can probably access this. I'm not sure. But this youth protection helpline, it's staffed 24 hours a day, and you can report inappropriate behavior and you will get help. It's also routed to the youth protection team. And so it's helpful if you do. For us here in Jamaica, we have a team here. We have us that you can call us to say, wow, but we are good at assessing situations and handling them. Now for the background checks, this is just giving you a scenario of who really should have it. The board members, district governors, all of these people are supposed to have a background check. So when it comes down to the teacher or the faculty advisor, you see there's an X and it says, if serving as a chaperone off school grounds, you have to have the background check. But we all should review the youth protection policy annually. Secretaries, if we have any online, you are responsible to go on the dashboard and update the dashboard. But this, what we're doing tonight, you go on and you say, yes, we have done the training. And if there's anybody whose background check is expiring, you need to quickly get that sorted out, okay? To get your background check, and we spoke about who should get a background check already, it's done by Safe Hiring. And so for the Caribbean, we do background checks at kiwanis.org to request the link that will place you in the hands of Safe Hiring to give you the information that you need. I think I alluded to telling you that non-Kiwanians advisors will pay more than the Kiwanian advisors. I have sent in a plea to KI just today to rethink that aspect of it so that we can have a pool of Kiwanian advisors. They're not listed on the dashboard, but they have done their background checks, so you have a pool of persons that you can reach out to if you are having difficulties. But if we put this at $82 US to get this background check for non-advisors, we are heading for trouble. And I have pointed that out just today, waiting on a response to see how best we can get that part of it sorted out. On the phone, you get your form to complete for the background check. For the Caribbean, your passport or an ID card, you know, but I think we're now mostly using the Jamaican passport. And this is what they're going to pull information from. So they need the passport number. And they also will get information from the country's criminal databases. And they do get the information. They go to them. All right? They're not getting into your personal business, nothing like that. And we know that we are good to go upfront with whatever we do here. Now, again, I'm reiterating that the secretary needs to log on to the dashboard, member admin tab, and see background check. Was it done by the faculty, the Kiwanis advisor, and when it expires? Because some Kiwanis advisors have been taken off by now because of no background checks done. You may want to check. Presidents, you may want to check your secretaries to have that checked out. If your current persons that you think are Kiwanis advisors are not there, you need to go and check so that you can sort that out. Okay, this is just statistics as to where we are now with the youth protection compliance. And this is really in North America, SLPs. I'm not going to go through that. Again, club secretaries should consistently monitor the background check status of their advisors. We spoke to that already. And you can create a plan to replace Kiwanis advisors if they don't want to do it. Get new persons to do it. Remind clubs, and I said it before even coming to this, remind your clubs that they can budget annually for the 25 expense. Clubs, remember, you can budget for this, both for your faculty advisor and and it can be taken from admin or the service account. You can budget for this annually. Our goal really is to reach 100% of background checks throughout the entire, especially ECNC. We want to be the first. EDG Mail, we want to be the first to have 100% of background checks compliance for our advisors. Don't worry too much now at this point if you are not a faculty advisor and you advise on you. Concentrate on your advisors, your Kiwanis advisors and your faculty advisors, and then you'll be able to really assist better. Remember, there's some clubs that have a lot of clubs and a lot of advisors. Look through it and see how best you can assist them. Some of them will say, I'll pay, but offer to help, and it should really be a part of your budget. Creating the culture of care is really something new that we want to really introduce to our key clubs and our Circle Ks. And so it provides positive youth development resources, parent resources, and lots of adult leaders resources on youth. And even us, we can do this too, because we need to know more how to deal with our youth. Okay, so Key Club Students is a program that we are pushing, and where you'll hear more about it, and our Circle Ks. You'll hear more about how they can be a part of. Okay, Youth Protection Week is this week, as we're now doing, and we're doing exactly what KI has asked us to do. And I congratulate Kiwanis Club of Kingston for inviting me here to go through this. There are lots of questions I know you'd want to ask, and it will take a while to get accustomed to our youth protection policy. And in no time, it's going to be like just every day. We just know that's something that we have to do. And once we know it's for the protection of our children, and these are the websites that we can go on to get further information on the care of our kids. And so it is my pleasure to have been here to talk with you, get the feedback on questions. And if you want to know anything more, you can call me, you can call DA Christopher Humber, you can call ADA Audrey Brown, or Selena. Selena is the next person I was thinking of. Selena from Capital City, ADA Selena. You can call her too and get more information. So President, that is it from me, unless there's some more burning questions. I would be happy to take.
Yes, dear G. Bev. Thank you very much for giving us this presentation. I'm going to allow 2 questions to, from our participants. I would say I see 2 hands raised, DP Stewart and DLG Herman in that order. So I will allow you 3 minutes both to complete your questions. And of course, DLG Bev will give a response in that time. Go ahead, DP Stewart.
DP Stewart?
DP Stewart? Well, he's not on. Okay.
Let's go to Herman.
Yeah, DLG Herman.
Yes, good evening. This is not Herman, but good evening.
Good evening. Oh, DP Audrey, yes. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Kiwanis from Garden Parish. I have a concern because almost a year and a half ago, I did the process, went through the process of trying to get my background check. And today I have not received a response. I don't know. I have not gotten a feedback.
All right. So was DP Herman helping you too? Because I know he pleaded a case for somebody. Is it the same case that you were having?
Yes, both of us. Both of us. Mine was. Yes.
Go ahead, finish. You're finished with the question?
No, the host muted.
Sorry, my apologies, DP Audrey, yes.
Yes, okay. Right, so I tried and I could not get through. I spoke to, it was a Kelly Lauper or somebody like that.
Yeah.
But I'm here to receive it.
So, I'm hearing a feedback. I don't know what it is, but all right. So tell me something, DP Audrey. Can we talk? Because I have tried to get back DLG Herman. The very day he called, I called him about 3 times. I sent him WhatsApps, but I did not hear back from him because I was there ready now to assist him in sorting this issue out. So I'm going to ask you for us to do the same. I don't think I have DP Herman's information on my WhatsApp. Would you like me to go through him, or would you like to give me an individual shout out at 797-7000?
Okay, thank you so much.
797-7000, give me a shout out, and I will definitely try to help you because it's becoming much more easier now to get the background check. In a matter of a few days, you can get it. But what had happened is that sometimes the form, when you're completing the form, you can't get up and leave it and go and do something else. It will knock you off. And so you have to just finish up the filling out the form.
Okay.
And then if it's stuck, then you can write to them to find out what happened. But I can surely assist you. A year and a half is just too long. But I will try to assist you.
EP Beverly.
Okay, sorry. I was in the queue, so I have switched devices, so I just like to ask the question I had in mind.
Go ahead, DP Store. But before you go, DP Store, could you stop sharing your screen? Are you stop sharing your screen, DP?
Hold on. I'm sure I did.
No, G-Bev.
You see it?
Yeah, good.
Right, yeah.
Okay then, good. DP Store, yes, you have a minute to answer your question.
Okay.
Please.
It was just one is just short question. What is the time period for the background check? How long does it last?
2 years, 24 months.
All right, and the second. Okay, and the second thing is, the DP Chris gave an example of doing a project with a key club, just as a typical example. Well, okay, we also do projects with circle cares, and I haven't heard you mention anything in relation to the ages, because some circle cares are adults. So, can you indicate how the old policies relate to circle cares who may be adults?
Right. So circle cares, remember now, circle cares go up to age, well, whatever, because they might be in school institution, tertiary institution. So circle cares, once they're below 21, we can't use them as chaperones or anything. If they're above 21, we can use them to assist as chaperones. But the rules to apply to Circle K once they're under the age of 23. The rules, some of the rules that I have spoken about and the policies would apply to them also once they are below. Persons might want to argue that it's 18 that you're an adult, but if you're below 18 and below, the rules apply. Above 18, you're now regarded as an adult, but not an adult to assist with chaperoning, because you have to be over 21. I don't know if it answered you at any point.
Just the chaperone, it's not just the chaperone part, which is fine. What about the whole ratio thing that we were talking about? You know, not just from a chaperone, not just from the chaperone point of view. The whole thing about the ratios that we were saying, what we must have as background check persons in relation to Circle Kers who are older. That was part of the question.
All right, can I be honest with you? I'm going to have to check this one. This one has never come up before, but I am thinking that if our Circle Kers are below the age 18 and below, all of this would apply. But you're going to have those between 18 and 20 something.
Right.
So I'm going to check that out. Please let me have that checked out.
Okay.
Or Circle Kers, whom we regard as adults because they are a tertiary institution. But they still form a part of the program itself. So I'm going to make sure and pointing out and emphasizing on Circle K.
Okay, thank you.
But at 18, aren't you an adult? At 18, aren't you considered to be an adult?
That's what I said. I said 18 and above, you are considered an adult. Below 18.
Is by that transition.
Somebody's on with me? All right, so below 18 and below, you are considered a part of all of this program. So what do we do with the ones 18 and above? It's the question. Do they still form a part of all of this? One good question. Thank you. Thank you, Stuart. I will find that out.
Okay, dear Jim, thank you so very much. I'm going to ask one more participant to ask our question. Kiwanian, you ready to see? The floor is yours. Then we move to the vote of thanks by Kiwanis, Dr. Andrew Burton.
Okay, DLG Beverly. So the young lady who has the question, I don't remember her name, but she had a question about her background check that it seemed to be lost. Melissa McMahon, as I went through the presentations from last year, and Melissa McMahon addressed that you could email her directly, and the information is there. I cannot recall it offhand, but she addressed it directly. Also, with the chaperone, with them being between the ages of 18 and 21.
23.
On any trips they
21, sorry, yes, 21.
Right, they still would need a chaperone. So maybe it's not acting in the capacity as maybe babysitting like a high school age student, but the background check rules still apply because of the insurance purposes.
Yes, fine. Thank you so much. And I'm going to double check and to make sure what you have said is indeed what I recall, but I want to be, some things have changed, so I want to be sure. But it stands to reason what you have just said. And Melissa McMahon is the person to really, so in calling me or discussing, I would refer to her, persons who are having difficulties with their background checks. Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Eurydice Condison. I'm a probably brand new member or in the process of becoming a member.
Okay, great. Hurry up and join, man. Hurry up and join. You're following us. You're following us. Good.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I've been catching up, just quietly catching up.
So I would like to introduce you. This is a male club you're speaking to. So I want to introduce the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston.
For her to join, we have to change the policy at Kingston.
So I'm inviting her to come on tomorrow evening, the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. We meet at 6 o'clock. And Raleigh, you will give her our link. So she can join our meeting. So we can.
Yes, thank you so very much, DLG Bev. Thank you so very much. Well, at this point, if I may, at this point, I'm going to ask our Kiwanis, Dr. Andrew Burton, to move the vote of thanks.
Evening, everyone, especially DLG Bev. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us. It was a pleasure to hear from such an experienced and accomplished Kiwanian on this matter of the youth protection policies. As a relatively new Kiwanian and as someone who works with childcare and protection, it was very good to hear that there are so many policies involved. I never knew there was so much, so many intricacies involved with the whole process of youth protection. And as someone who is looking towards working with the Service Leadership Program Committee, it was good to know the details involved. You touched on red flags of abusers, accessible training, and the culture of care and everything. Lots of take-home points that we'll definitely have to go through at another time and digest. But thank you so much for the wealth of information that you've shared. We appreciate it.
Well, Kiwanis, Dr. Andrew Burton, I've shared a certificate of appreciation. You may do the honors, please.
Thank you. Thank you, President Paul. So DLG Bev, this is our certificate of appreciation from our club. Received this from the Kiwanis Club of Kingston for your contribution today. Thank you again so much for sharing with us.
Thank you again,
I think this will be delivered at a later date. Right,
yes, my neighbor can just drop it off.
Okay, okay. So we surely arrange that, DLG Bev.
Okay,
thanks again.
Thank you.
Yes.
But you're going to put it.
So right, you're so right. Gosh,
Okay.
you're going to put it. Yeah.
Yes, well, at this time, I'm going to ask our Sergeant at Arms, BP Desmond.
Thank you, President. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Do you have any jokes for us this week?
Yes, just one. I
Go
was having
right
problems
ahead.
with my computer, so I'm on my phone. I don't know. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, yes.
Just for the visitors, really, the Sarge is not a policeman. He's just a joker in the pack. He provides entertainment and tries to extract some money from the members of his club. But my joke is a wife accompanied her husband to a doctor's appointment. Both were senior citizens. Doctor examined him, and shortly after, he stepped outside to discuss his condition with his wife. The doctor said, "Your husband is suffering from a very severe stress disorder. If you don't do the following, he will die. Each morning, you should fix him a healthy breakfast, be pleasant at all times. For lunch, make him a nutritious meal. For dinner, prepare an especially nice meal. He should do no chores, and there should be no nagging. Oh yes, one more thing. You must make love to him several times per week. But do this for the next year, and he will regain his health completely." She knitted her brows and took a deep sigh. While they were driving home, the husband, having known that his doctor had spoken with her, he was curious, and he asked, "So what did the doctor say?" His wife replied, "The doctor said you're going to die." That's me, President.
Okay, Desmond.
You should have spoke to them together.
Yes. Oh, boy.
Well, thank you very much, DP Desmond. At this time, I invite our Secretary DLG Willie to bring us announcements and interclubbing activities for the week.
So like we're still looking at charge, President.
Thank you, President Paul. Fellow Kiwanis and guests, regarding notices and announcements. DLG Bev has already advised us this week, October 11 to 15th, is regarded by Kiwanis International, the Kiwanis Youth Protection Week. October 23 is Kiwanis One Day Project, and the theme is planting trees. President already sent out some details via WhatsApp, and I'm sure we'll follow up in terms of the Builders Club and the Key Clubs, where we will be planting trees. And so far as interclubbing opportunities, this is a very busy time. We have a number of invitations. I will just list a few of them. Tomorrow evening, October 13th, Cyber Connect has their installation officers at 5:30. Tomorrow night, Kiwanis Club of New Kingston has a meeting where DLG Bev will be addressing Kiwanis youth protection policies, and that is at 6:30. On October 14th, Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew have their installation of officers, and that is 6:30. October the 16th, Saturday, Charlton Alexandria have special inviters to their installation officers, and that is at 12:30. October 19th, as a Sunday, Meadowvale, outgoing president, has invited us to their installation officers, and that starts at 2 p.m. And on October 18th, that Monday coming, St. Andrew has their installation of officers. All these installation dates and times will be placed in the WhatsApp group tomorrow. President Paul asked me for announcements and interclubbing opportunities. There may be one or two presidents in the room who may wish to make an announcement. Over to you, Paul.
Yes, thank you very much, DLG Willie. At this time, I will invite anyone, any presidents or other Kiwanians who wish to make an announcement. You may do so.
Yes, good evening, President Paul.
Yes, good
Kiwanis
evening.
and guests. This is immediate past president of the Kiwanis Club of Hopewell, IPP Nadine. We're welcoming you all to our joint installation ceremony of the Kiwanis Clubs of Hopewell, Junction South and Santa Cruz, and this will be held on Sunday, October 24 at 3 p.m. via the Zoom platform. We will send the details, the login details shortly. Looking forward to your company. Blessings.
Yes, thank you so very much, IPP Nadine. Okay, at this time, I will ask for our thought of the week by DP Stewart.
Thank you, President Paul. As usual, I have two short ones. The first one is, if you are not prepared to be wrong, you will never come up with anything original. And the second one, don't aspire to be the best on the team. Aspire to be the best for the team. And those are my two thoughts, President Paul.
Thank you very much, DP Stewart, for those two thoughts. At this time, I'm going to ask everyone to raise his or her imaginary glass with water, DLG Bev, and drink a toast to Kiwanis International.
Yes, indeed.
And to Jamaica land we love.
Indeed,
This
indeed.
meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is now terminated.
I don't drink water.
Ronnie, what is in your glass?
Look like water.
Look like water. Coconut water. All right.
President Paul.
DLG
Paul.
You're
Yeah.
President
welcome.
Paul.
It's good being here.
Try and end the YouTube. You see, I had to log off because I had some problems here. So end the YouTube.